All right, let's jump right in. The future of AI isn't being built in some single quiet lab somewhere. No, it's a full-blown global conflict, and it's being fought on a bunch of different fronts all at once. So today, we're going to map out these battles, see how they connect, and really understand what's shaping our world.
So let's kick things off with a number. A number so big it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around. 1.3 quadrillion. That's a 1.3 with 15 zeros after it. And what is that? Well, that's how many AI tokens, little pieces of words or code that Google is processing every single month. It's just an unbelievable, staggering scale.
Now, to make that crazy number make a little more sense, Google's DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis broke it down for us. He said, forget about the monthly total. Let's think smaller, much smaller. That 1.3 quadrillion comes out to about 500 million tokens processed
Every single second. 500 million. Just let that sink in for a moment. That's the kind of speed, the kind of raw computational power we're talking about in this AI race. And believe me, it's only getting faster.
So, this insane scale, this is the first major front in the AI war. It's a battle for pure, unadulterated processing power. And if you look at the recent data, well, it shows Google's got some serious wind in its sails right now.
And this chart right here is where you can really see that momentum. I mean, this isn't just growth, it's an explosion. In September, Gemini's web traffic shot up by 46%. Now, to give you some context, its closest competitor, Perplexity, grew by just over 14%. So Google isn't just ahead, they are absolutely lapping the field in this specific race.
But of course, we got to be smart about these numbers, right? They don't tell the whole story. This is only looking at web traffic. It doesn't see what's happening on mobile apps. And for something like Grok, almost everyone uses it right there on X. So its numbers here are going to look skewed. But even with all that, you just can't deny that trend for Gemini.
Okay, let's pivot to the next front. This one isn't about code or computers. It's about the people, the brilliant minds behind it all. This is the battle for talent. And folks, it is getting fierce.
And I mean, what better example than this story right here? Meta just poached Andrew Tulk. This guy is an absolute heavyweight in the AI world, a founder at a super high-profile startup called Thinking Machines Labs, and before that, he was a leader at OpenAI. This is a massive get for Meta.
Just look at his career path here. It's like a tour of the AI titans. He's at Meta for a decade, then he jumps over to OpenAI, then leaves to start his own ambitious company, and now, in a pretty wild twist, he's heading right back to Meta.
Now, his old company put out this super standard corporate speak statement, but you and I both know that in this industry, personal reasons is basically code, and the rumors swirling around this move, they suggest those reasons have a whole lot of zeros attached to them.
And here's why everyone's talking. This number, $1.5 billion over 6 years, is what Tulk supposedly turned down from Meta just last year. So if that's what he said no to then, can you imagine what he just said yes to?
This whole saga is just the perfect definition of what's being called the billion-dollar talent war. We're in a completely new era. It's not just about buying companies anymore. It's about buying the brains inside them, sometimes for even more than the company's worth. You've got Mark Zuckerberg himself personally emailing and calling these top researchers, throwing around compensation packages that are, well, they're just completely life-changing.
All right, on to the third front in our war. This one's a little more out there. It's the race to build something called world models. The best way to think about them is like super realistic video games or digital sandboxes, where an AI can learn about how the world works, physics, cause and effect, without breaking stuff in the real world. And now a new player has officially entered the ring, Elon Musk's company, xAI. They've just hired some key people away from Nvidia, who's a big leader in this area, specifically to build out their own world model technology.
And this right here, this is just classic Elon strategy. The huge, long-term vision is to use these world models to train physical robots like Optimus, but that's probably years and years away. So what's the clever short-term move? You take that same exact tech, use it to create amazing AI-generated video games, and start making money way, way sooner. It's brilliant. But here's the thing. None of this, not the software, not the talent, not the virtual worlds, none of it happens without the hardware. It all comes down to one physical object, advanced computer chips, and this has turned into the hottest geopolitical battleground on the planet.
And the tension is really starting to boil over. I mean, just look at what happened over a single weekend recently. On one side, you have China cracking down hard on Nvidia chip imports. And on the other, you have the Dutch government literally seizing control of a Chinese-owned chipmaker in Europe.
Now, this is where it gets really juicy. The official reason they gave for the seizure was governance shortcomings. But come on, nobody really thinks that's the whole story. To make this move, the Dutch government had to dig up a law from 1952 and use it for the very first time. So the real message, what analysts are saying, is that this was a strategic move to block China from getting its hands on critical Western chip tech.
And you can bet the Chinese parent company Wingtech was not happy. They fired back. In a social media post they later deleted, calling it a biased political attack. It just perfectly shows how both sides are seeing these moves as acts of aggression in a tech war that is escalating fast.
So, when you start connecting all these dots, you've got the battle for computing scale, the billion-dollar fight for talent, the race to build entirely new realities, and this raw physical conflict over the chips that power everything. You realize these aren't four separate stories. They're four fronts in one massive, world-spanning conflict. All of these interconnected battles are playing out right now, in real time, and they are actively shaping the future of technology and, frankly, global power. It really leaves us with one huge critical question. In a war that's fought with code and talent and silicon, a war that has no clear borders, who actually wins? And what does that victory even look like?